Hi guys, and welcome back to the Red Mist podcast with me, Seshadri. It's been a long while since we've done this podcast, and we've missed two matches. I think we've missed a league game, and obviously we missed the 2-0 defeat to Atalanta in the Champions League. It's mostly because I've had some personal issues that I've had to deal with, and obviously, this not being my main job means, from time to time I've got to compromise on this. Hopefully, it doesn't happen too often, but it's just something that comes up. A lot of things to talk about, though. I mean, this is obviously nominally a preview episode for tomorrow's game against Brighton and Hove Albion, but it's going to be a lot more than that. We've got a lot of news that's coming in. So first of all, let's just let's take a moment and let's pray for Diego Maradona and his family and his friends. A legend in world football, one of the best ever to do it. And it's arguable, whether he's the best ever or not, but he's definitely up there. I haven't personally seen him play, but from those who have seen him play and from what I've heard and what I've seen on YouTube, whatever limited clips that I've seen on YouTube, he was a genius on the football pitch. He had his problems off of it, but he did have, his touch was amazing. Like his skill on the field of play was just amazing. And what he did at Napoli is incredible. He's revered as a god in the city of Napoli, in the city of Naples, in Italy. So obviously, came there after a not so great spell at Barcelona, and then, went on to do incredible things in Italy. And a lot of people have come out and testified to his greatness and, mourned his death, including Messi, Ronaldo, Michel Platini. The list goes on, Jurgen Klopp even. So he's a genius on the football field, and obviously I think it's the first sort of real taste of the outpouring of grief, I guess, that would ensue once a great in the football field passes away. I mean, look, I haven't got any personal feelings towards Maradona because, like I said, I haven't watched him play. He was a great before my time, so maybe my attachment towards him isn't as much, but I think I will feel the emotions more when when the time comes, many years hopefully from now on, when Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi pass away. I think that's going to be the time when you really start to feel it. And maybe other great players as well, maybe Manuel Neuer, guys like that. Like, these are not players whom I've supported in some way, shape or form. But definitely because they haven't played for Liverpool, but it doesn't mean I can't acknowledge their greatness. And 2020 has been a very shit year, to be completely honest, even from a sporting perspective. Obviously, at the start of the year, it was marked by Kobe Bryant's death. For those of you who don't know, Kobe Bryant is a legendary basketball player, played for the Lakers, won 5 NBA titles with them, and obviously Diego Maradona as well. Passed on 25th November, same day as George Best, so thoughts and prayers go out to his family. Lovely gesture in Naples, fans paying tribute to him. The stadium's going to be named after him as well. Even in Argentina, there were emotional scenes. Boca Juniors and River Plate fans, traditionally big rivals, fierce rivals, coming together for this one moment. Obviously, won Argentina their World Cup, so I mean, it's an interesting thing. You celebrate the greatness of this man on the field and off the field. He's had so many issues, things with mafia, drugs, and so on and so forth. So it's obviously it's you have to celebrate the achievements on the field, though. I mean, I think off the field, there's a lot of stuff that's gone on. People are flawed, and I think Maradona was probably one of the most flawed people on earth outside of the football field. But on the field, he was a genius, and that needs to be acknowledged. But that is about Diego Maradona. Liverpool, for the last few weeks, they have been looking jaded. They've been looking off pace. Getting back to the topic. Let's just get back to Liverpool. They've been looking off pace, and obviously against Leicester, we had a very good performance. 3-0 should have been a lot more, considering the amount of the chances that we had, and if it wasn't for the heroics of Kasper Schmeichel and the woodwork and whatnot, I think it would have been a lot more. I think it was a flawless performance. Unfortunately, we were not able to repeat it against Atalanta. It's just been that kind of a season. I think I'm not going to blame the players for the performance wasn't great. Let's just face it. All the outfield players weren't great. I'm not going to go on too much about the Atalanta game because this is about Brighton, so I'm not going to go on too much about that. But look, it's just been that kind of a year. I mean, it's just been an up and down year. Teams have been stop-starting all over the place. I mean, you have 1 week, you have amazing performances. You think, okay, they're going to pick it up. Then the next week, you have these performances because of tiredness, because they're jaded, because lineups have changed, injuries. There's just so much going on this year. This is a weird year. This is a weird season. And I mean, it is bound to happen. And the game against Atalanta, we were flat-footed throughout. Just didn't look like we were up to it. Atalanta were the better team throughout the 90 minutes and deservedly came away with 3 points. We could have sealed qualification, but unfortunately, that's going to have to wait probably till next week or maybe even the week after that. But, we'll have to see how that goes. But Brighton, early kickoff tomorrow. Jurgen Klopp railing about it, and rightly so. Honestly, Sky conveniently cut this section out of their, post-game thing after Leicester or after Atalanta, or BT cut it out of. I don't exactly know what happened. I don't know which channel. I don't know when this interview was given, but the crux of the matter is these guys need to talk. Teams that play on Wednesday, they cannot be playing the early kickoff on Saturday. They just cannot. That's just not how it's done. I understand, you have television rights and the things you have to broadcast and things like that. But look, the clubs that are involved in Europe, there's 7 clubs involved in Europe. Why not keep most of their matches on Sunday, or at least give them the later kickoffs? You have 4 kickoff timings on Saturday, and why not give them the last 2? And keep the remaining for Sunday. I don't understand why there have to be only 3 games on a Sunday. Like, it's a Sunday. You're basically doing nothing that day. Just give them the early kickoff. Give them Sunday early kickoff. That's fine. But give them the late kickoffs on Saturday. And it's not just Liverpool. Man United have been subjected to this. And I'm pretty sure at some point, every team will go through it. And that's the excuse that these broadcasters are going to give. At some point, every team's going to go through it. But that's not really an argument. It like 2 wrongs don't justify a right. You've got 14 or how many ever teams, 13 teams not involved in Europe. Have them play the Friday games. Have them play Saturday. Have them play have them play the Saturday early games. Why not? That's just my question. It just makes no sense to me that broadcasters would not take into account the physical health of the players before they actually, decide on broadcasting schedules. Because ultimately what gets affected is the product on the field. And look, as a Liverpool fan, I'm going to tune in and watch anyway. But if you're watching as a neutral, if you see that the game's not good, you're going to switch off and go. That's just how it is. If I tune in and let's say I'm watching, Chelsea-Tottenham's this week. Let's say I'm watching Chelsea-Tottenham. And both teams look tired, both teams look jaded. I'm going to switch off the game after 20-25 minutes. I'm going to give them 20-25 minutes, but I'm just going to switch it off after that if it's boring. And that's the same for every neutral fan. So I don't understand, like Jurgen Klopp said, Sky, BT, you guys have to sit down and talk. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you guys have to sit down and talk. And it makes zero sense that, Liverpool are playing the early kickoff. It just makes no sense. It is what it is. Enough about that. Let's get to tomorrow's game anyway. Early kickoff, like I said, 6 p.m. in India. That means it's 12:30 in Britain. I'm not happy with it. Neither is Jurgen Klopp, but there's just so much we can do. There is another thing we do have to get to, though. It is, lockdown is about to end in the United Kingdom on December 2nd, which means that Britain is going to go back to a 3-tier system. And this time it's a little bit different because cities in Tier 1 and Tier 2 can welcome fans. Now, Tier 1 can welcome up to 4,000 fans or half the stadium's capacity, whichever is lower. And for Tier 2, that's going to be 2,000 fans or half the stadium capacity, whichever is lower. Now, this will mostly benefit lower league teams who depend on game day revenue more than, say, a Liverpool or a Man City. But it is good news. It is definitely good news. It's definitely good news to have some fans in. It's a small step. It's baby steps. And until the vaccine comes about and it's widely distributed and it's effective, we're not really going to see, a full capacity stadium at any given point in time. But it is good news that Liverpool and other cities which are in Tier 2 in the Premier League can actually welcome fans. I mean, I think about 10 teams, if I'm not wrong, 10 or 13 teams can actually welcome fans. If I'm not mistaken, the 2 Manchester teams, Leicester, West Brom, Newcastle, and a couple of others cannot welcome fans, but most teams can, and most teams have made plans to welcome fans. Arsenal announced earlier on that they're going to welcome fans for their Europa League tie against Rapid Vienna. Liverpool obviously announced as well that they are planning to welcome back fans for the game against Wolverhampton. LFC Women are also planning to welcome back fans to Prenton Park. So again, good news for women's football as well, and for the championship games there, the Continental Cup games there as well. So again, it's a good news for the club, but obviously it will get better. It can get better, and it should get better with time and with the arrival of a vaccine. There is now. Let's just get to tomorrow's game finally. Liverpool against Brighton. It's actually Brighton against Liverpool, to be honest, because we are traveling to Amex. It's not going to be good. I mean, I'm not saying it's not like it's not going to be a good preview. I should finish that sentence really. It's not going to be a good preview because, you know, with the amount of injuries that we have, with the amount of games that we've had, I genuinely cannot tell you what the Liverpool lineup will be. Now, I am going to take a guess eventually. I just genuinely cannot tell you who's going to start. I just cannot. I mean, you know, we're going to the Amex Stadium in Brighton, South Coast. Last season, obviously, this same fixture produced a 3-1 win for Liverpool. The referee for this game is going to be Stuart Atwell, who's given out 6.25 cards per game on average. So that's also there. We'll start with the visitors. Brighton. They've got something to do because their home record is not great. They have not won any of their last 8 games at home, and they've only won 2 of the last 17, which obviously extends back to beyond this season. That's not to say they've not won. All of their wins this season have actually come away from home, so that's, I guess, encouraging news for Liverpool. Not so great for Brighton, but again, you can use that as motivation to try and win. So Brighton's last 4 Premier League wins have now all come away from home. Last weekend they beat Aston Villa 2-1, which is surprising because Brighton beat Aston Villa beat Liverpool 7-2. It's just the way the Premier League is. Like I said, it's a weird season. I wouldn't be surprised if after all this, suddenly, Newcastle found themselves in a relegation battle. I just wouldn't be surprised anymore. If they win against Liverpool by chance, it will be their first time, winning back-to-back league games since November 2019, and it's gonna be a difficult meeting for Graham Potter's men. They're playing well. They play good football. I think I like the football that Brighton play. They're actually very on the front foot. They're not afraid of opponents, and I think that's the mentality that Graham Potter wants. But for the style that they want to play, they don't have as much quality, which is affecting them, which is why they sort of find themselves above a relegation battle, but only just above. 1 or 2 games this way, that way, and suddenly they're back down, in there. So it's, they're 16th right now, just in case you didn't know. They're 16th right now with 9 points from 9 games, 2 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. They won their last game, drew 3 of their last 5. So they're not bad, but it's not world-beating form. Let's just say that. Adam Lallana has been a brilliant addition to this Brighton team. Genuinely, I think, and last week, with the addition of Danny Welbeck, last week I watched their game against Aston Villa and they were really good, both of them. Lallana and Welbeck, the link-up was really good, and they're going to be looking to use that against Liverpool as well. especially because Lallana, Lallana knows Liverpool. He knows how we play. We don't change our system. Liverpool don't change our system. So, Lallana knows it inside out, and it's going to be interesting to see how Brighton cope with the knowledge, their more intimate knowledge of how Liverpool work, maybe than other teams have. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do to counter what we do. One big story, however, is the fact that Tariq Lamptey, who's been amazing at right wing back, he's going to be missing the game against Liverpool, which means that's a major miss. I think he's been one of the standout stars of this season. I think he's if I was to make a Premier League 11 of players outside of the top 6 or 7 teams, I think Tariq Lamptey would definitely feature in that 11, or at least on the bench of that 11, because he's definitely been a standout performer this season. Right from the very first game, I think it was against Chelsea. Right from the very first game, he's been really good. So I think personally that's going to be a big miss. As for potential starting 11s, I think Matt Ryan's going to start in goal for Brighton. There's going to be no doubt about that. We're going to have the familiar back three, I guess, of Ben White, Lewis Dunk and Webster. So no changes there. Either Solimarch on the left, Bernardo on the right wing back positions, Bissouma and Gross in the middle, with Lallana playing slightly ahead of them as the number 10, and Neil Maupay will partner Danny Welbeck after that impressive showing last week. So it's going to be a 3-4-1-2, I think, the way you see it, or 3-5-2, however you want to see it. I think Lallana's industry is going to be very, very key. Pascal Gross, Lallana, their creativity is going to be very, very key, and Welbeck and Maupay have got to finish. They're not going to get too many chances, I don't think, but they are going to have to finish. As for Liverpool, now, there is a lot that I want to say. There is a lot about Liverpool that I want to say, but I'm going to have to keep it short because I don't want this episode to be too long. Jordan Henderson is closing in on a return to action, but Jurgen Klopp said even if he wanted to tell the press a lineup for tomorrow, he couldn't. He's going to take the decision as late as possible because, he has to wait for the medical department to say who's ready or who's not. I think for me, the most frustrating thing right now is, especially with Naby Keita's injury as well, is our midfield and the fact that Thiago has not played just yet. We knew Thiago had injury issues. That was something that we knew when we were buying him. But I was excited because I thought, he played such a key role for Bayern. He's been there for a whole season for Bayern pretty much. So I thought, okay, he can maintain his fitness. Now, yes, we knew 1 or 2 games he's not going to make it or things like that. But that Richarlison tackle, man, Everton, don't even remind me. Anyway, that Richarlison tackle ruined him. And see, the problem that I have with Liverpool is not so much Thiago being out. It's that they keep raising our hopes. They keep saying, okay, he's going to be back for this game. Or, they don't say it officially. They just say a few weeks or whatever. But, you hear through these media sources and people who know know insiders, I guess. You keep sort of hearing these people saying, okay, a few weeks. He's going to be back for this game. He's going to be back for that game. He's going to be back for Leicester. He's going to be back for Man City. Like, you keep hearing this and you keep hoping that he's going to be there. But he just isn't. And it's just annoying. Like, it's just really, really annoying. Like, the club should just straight up tell me, like, look, he's got an injury. It's worse than we thought. We thought he's missing 2 games. He's probably going to miss about 6. Fine. At least the news gets done there. Like, that's just my frustration with Liverpool. So, for me, that's just how it is. I mean, it's just it's just annoying. Really, that's just all I can say. Jordan Henderson did do some training. He did some team training, some individual training, so he should be in contention. Now, whether he will start, whether he's on the bench, I don't know. As for lineups, like I said at the start of this episode, I can't predict the lineup, but I am going to do it anyway. Trent is still out, so he's not going to start. I'll start in goal, obviously. Alisson in goal. I'm going to say James Milner at right back again. Joel Matip, Fabinho, Robertson. I'm going to say Henderson starts because I think Henderson is too important not to start. I'm going to say Curtis Jones starts. Wijnaldum starts. And then the front three, I'm going to say Diogo Jota starts, Firmino starts, and Salah starts. I'm going to say Mane gets a rest on this one. So for me, I think that's my lineup. Like, honestly, I think that's my lineup. Obviously, Nico Williams started, Reece Williams started Champions League game against Atalanta. It didn't go well. To be honest, I can't blame them. I was listening to commentary and they said this was Joel Matip's fourth different centre-back partner in the 5 games that he's played. And it's the 10th different centre-back combination that Liverpool have used this season. So, honestly, I mean, it's ridiculous. The injuries have been ridiculous. The season scheduling has been ridiculous. And the biggest evidence for that is the fact that tomorrow's game against Brighton is at 12:30. It's ridiculous. It's unjust. It's unfair. And I know people are going to dress it up saying, every team goes through it. Man United went through it recently as well. In my opinion, that doesn't justify it. I just think it's wrong. I just think it's stupid. And look, the broadcasters need to sort it out. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say on this. The broadcasters need to sort it out. But yeah, that's been my preview to Brighton versus Liverpool. I haven't touched on Mo Salah's COVID and all the injuries individually specifically because I don't want this episode to be too long. Like I said, my previews I tend to keep them short, like about 20 minutes or so. I want to stick to that. So it's already 22 minutes and I think this has gone on for way too long. But predictions for tomorrow's game, I'm going to say Brighton's home woes continue. Liverpool score. We're not going to have 2 back-to-back games where we play badly. And I think Liverpool are just too strong for Brighton. So I'm going to say it's going to be a comfortable win. I'm going to say 2-0. I'm not going to say we're going to thrash Brighton, but I definitely am going to say we're going to win 2-0. So obviously Graham Potter's men are going to be motivated, but so will Jurgen Klopp's men. And I think at the end of the day, I think we have too much quality for Brighton, and that will show in the end. But yeah, that's been my predictions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. Like I said, this podcast, at times it may take a break because, like I said, this is not my main job, and sometimes real life does take precedence, as it did over the past week or so. But I'm hoping to be back. I have other things planned. I had other things planned for the international break as well. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But yeah, that's been my preview for Brighton versus Liverpool. Hopefully, we have a good game tomorrow. Come out with 3 points and go back to the top of the table as well. Yeah, hopefully you guys have a good day and we'll enjoy the game tomorrow together. And don't forget, Raw Reactions is going to be back for tomorrow's game against Brighton. It's going to be a weird feeling recording at 6 p.m. I'm not even sure why it's going to be a weird feeling, but I just know it's going to be a weird feeling. But yeah, that's it's all part of the job. But yeah, I'll see you for Raw Reactions, Brighton versus Liverpool tomorrow. But until then, goodbye, take care of yourself and stay safe.